Coast Guard heroes arriving in the Abaco Islands.
5 young boys create a rescue trampoline.
The first to run a marathon in under 2 hours.
We have seen what we thought was unseeable.
A relay of dogs will lead blind runner Tom Panic across the finish line.
Nicolas Mahut lost in the French Open, but then his 7-year-old son ran onto the court to give his dad a big hug.
Her and her sister have been heroes for many little girls out there.
I want to thank my amazing mom. She's my hero.
I love you.
Exactly what I was thinking.
When you are free to be you, it is the best feeling in the world.
He's the Sully Sullenberger of pizza.
My family is making a grant to eliminate their student loans.
We know deep down what's right and what's needed.
I'm going to fight this.
Who says I can't? Nobody!
Here it comes. Never been done in competition.
The category is love, y'all. Love!
Use your heart, your courage and vision to fix, to heal, to empathize, to connect. Because living life for something bigger than yourself is a hero's journey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Wisner, and I am so excited to be your host of Power Up Hero, a show all about being the hero of your stories. Because let's face it, living in today's life, I mean, we have a pandemic, living here in the Gulf Coast, I think there's a hurricane coming, there's just so much stuff going on that you really feel like sometimes you have to pull superpowers from who knows where to make it happen. And this show is all about giving you lessons and time hacks so you can get it all done and move on with living your best life. But this show is also about understanding that there are heroes in our community who make things happen. And so we are all about celebrating our heroes because I'm sure you know that our world needs heroes today more than ever before. So if you're curious about what this Power Up Hero thing is and what it all means, let me tell you, being a hero is really just about living your best life, being what I call an agent of change. You're making sure that whatever you're doing it to make sure that you're serving yourself, the best version of yourself, and the best version of yourself for your family, the best version of yourself for your community. But more important than that, I think anything that we do, we must think about it in greater service to the world. What are you going to do as a human to inch the human race closer to being bigger and better because you existed? Now, our show today is kind of interesting. You know, I think one of the things that you probably know about me is I'm all about health and fitness. I'm all about making sure that you're taking care of yourself. But let's face it, some days working out isn't something that you want to do. Motivation and willpower will not always ensure that you get to exercise. Sometimes it's raining. Sometimes you're just tired. You've had a busy work day and you just don't want to get out and do the exercise that you know will help your body thrive. So if you don't have time to exercise, what if I told you that, you know, you're actually hurting yourself? You're hurting yourself mentally, physically, but also time-wise. And when I think about that, I always think, are there any hacks? Is there any way that we can get in and get out faster? Because you can get a lot more done in your day if you're fit, if you're alert. But if you don't have time to exercise, then you're not being able to bridge that gap of your efficiency. So you may see exercise as, I'll get to the gym when I get to the gym, or I'll do that. But you need to know how important it is. It actually makes sure that you're able to operate on the day, that you have a full docket, that you're able to operate at your fullest potential and get more done. So to me, I feel like exercise is a hack. So my guest today is really about understanding the unique problem that we all face, which is getting into a training program, getting into a workout program, and really understanding that if you don't have time what is the most efficient way for you to get in and get out and get on with your day, right? So you can get things done. So the gym may be intimidating. You may be new there, or maybe you haven't been there in a while. I know some of y'all have probably thought, I am not going to a gym. You know, this COVID thing or social distancing, I'm not even trying to go to a gym. But I'll tell you what, we got you covered, because our guest today is a popular health and fitness guru right here in our community. Her name is Selina Hinojosa. She's a master trainer and owner of an amazing organization called LiftBySelina. She has over 20 years of experience as a fitness professional. She's a champion learner, and she's actually in the process of getting her medical exercise specialist certification. And to me, that's interesting, because I think sometimes when we're in our roles, we may relegate ourselves to just kind of going with the flow, and we got the job to do something, and so we're just continuing to do it. But you always have to learn, right? And you have to get better, and you have to be thinking ahead. Like, what does the world need you to be, right? You need to learn that. And she's branching herself out to really essentially carry out the services for our community that have to do with medical exercise. Our guest, Selina Hinojosa, she's really, truly amazing. And when she was asked why she does what she does, she said that it's her hope, right? Listen, ladies and gentlemen, it is her hope that the work she does helps our community and alleviates the burden of health conditions. Her goal is to bridge the gap between healthcare and fitness through exercise. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Selina Hinojosa. Welcome, Selina.
Thank you, Lisa. What an introduction. Thank you. I hope I can live up to that.
Yeah, well, you already have. You're our superhero for us. You know, I have to say, I have been to your workout classes, and I kind of stumbled upon you by accident. And yes. I remember thinking to myself, this woman is amazing. And I think we were doing like, what time was the workout at your place?
I think at that time it was 5:30 a.m.
Yeah, 5:30, and like hitting it, you know, it was like so much stuff going on, and going home thinking that was amazing. I'm glad I drove over there, you know, to get this.
Yes, thank you.
You collaborated with us when we were doing Freelance Business Week, and
yes,
hosted a sunrise wake up. I guess it was like a wake up sunrise fitness.
Yes, that was fun over there at Cole Park.
Yeah. It was. Well, I'm most excited to be here. So, ladies and gentlemen, those of y'all who are watching, this is Selina, and I want you to see this session today as you've just tuned in. Okay, so just think of yourself as tuning in. If you have any questions or comments or shout outs, put them in the chat area so that we can bring you onto this show. We want you in this show. We want your questions in this show as well. And then one of the other things I also want to point out is I want to find out where you're joining us from. It's been very interesting to see that our show has grown. I think over time, I start watching, 500 views, 1,000 views here and there. And it's like, oh my gosh, all these people are watching. So I think it's important, just tell us where you're watching from, because I've heard of people in Kenya are watching. I've had people in Australia watching. Yes. And in the UK, for some reason, in the UK, we're awesome. Popular. So I'm just thinking, I'm like, tell us where you're joining from so that we can go ahead and edify you and maybe find heroes in your community so we can bring them on the show and celebrate them. But let's go ahead and get started. So, Selina, this show is all about celebrating you. So I want to let you know, first of all, congratulations on being our Power Up hero. And
thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And before we go any further, I want to tell you that you are our Power Up hero of health and fitness.
Thank you.
And I think I've watched you, and I've seen how you run your business, and I've seen how you live your life. And I truly feel like there's more to you than what I see, right? So it's like, what I see in your life, I think it's just the surface, right? So even though we're talking about you being a health and fitness guru, I think it's important for people to know, like, exactly what do you do? Like, what is it that you do? What does Selina Hinojosa do for a living?
All right. Well, thank you so much again for inviting me. Thank you so much for that awesome introduction. So like you said, I am the Power Up hero of health and fitness. I am a certified master fitness trainer with over 20 years experience in the fitness industry. My specializations include corrective exercise and senior fitness. And also, as you also mentioned, I'm also taking on a new certification course for a post-rehab conditioning specialist and a medical exercise specialist taught by Dr. Michael Jones from the Medical Exercise Training Institute in Katy, Texas. And as a medical exercise specialist, we are trained to develop safe and effective exercise programs for clients with medical conditions such as cardiovascular, musculoskeletal, neurological, and metabolic disorders after they are discharged from either chiropractic care and or physical therapy.
I like that. Okay, so let's just even take a step back, okay? Because I'm gonna show a screen, which is what I see you as, okay? So I remember thinking you're a personal trainer, and then you do group exercise, right? So you can help people individually, but you can also, we can also come to your classes. And now you're telling me a little bit about this medical support, right? So let's say I have an injury, right? Most of the time people go to, I guess, they go to a PT, like to personal training, like, is that what it is, like physical therapy?
Yes. So let's say a medical exercise specialist would pick up where a physical therapy would leave off.
Okay. So therapy gets you where the doctor says you're good to go, and then you refine?
That's right. That's right. A medical exercise specialist is trained to bridge the gap between healthcare and fitness once the patient or client is stable enough for exercise.
Okay, I love that. So, like, let's say I broke my arm. Let's not ask for that, y'all. So I didn't even say that. And I didn't say that. Okay. So the PT will help me, at least get mobility, but then my arm might still be, I like to climb ropes and I like to go over walls. I'm a Spartan racer. And so I may need some extra exercise to get it back to be like this arm, right?
That's right. Okay. And it's I also want to add, Lisa, that as a medical exercise specialist, we're also trained to communicate thoroughly with your doctor, with your chiropractor, with your healthcare professional to ensure that your medical exercise program is up to par with what your doctor is asking you to do or not to do.
And now I may be getting into the details, and I know this is a story about our hero, but I'm getting in her business, y'all. Is this something that's covered by insurance? Because I think sometimes when you get injured, it goes through like a process. And so is this something that I could sign up for through insurance?
Absolutely. Some insurances will cover that.
Okay.
Yes.
Man, so
yes.
Really awesome. So if I get an injury, then I need to know that my services may be covered through Lift by Selina.
Right.
I love it. Okay, so now we went into the details of your business, right? So now we know. So you're really, what you're going to do is probably build relationships with the physical therapists in town and the doctors, right?
Yes.
So then they know that you're part of the continuum of care. You're part of like the solution, the whole solution. So it's almost like step 1, you got hurt. Oh my gosh, and then step 2, you show up to the hospital. Step 3, you go to your doctor. And then step 4, you go to your PT training. Step 5, and lifelong fitness is Selina, right?
We as medical exercise specialists want to be part of your aftercare from your after your discharge from medical.
Okay, fantastic. So this all sounds like fun, but actually I've been watching you on social media and there's a whole bunch of books you're reading and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's working hard for this, right? And so I think that there's a story here of why you are doing health and fitness, because I love health and fitness, but I'm not about to like go get a certification like you are or study it to the point where like, and you know what? I know this is not the only certification you have. I've seen that you're an elite trainer, you're this, you're that. You have all these other like credentials. Why? Yes. What is the catalyst? What is the thing? What was the spark that made you pick this career?
I've actually, like I said, I've been in health and fitness for 20 years. And when I was just getting started, I was fortunate enough to have somebody really believe in me and tell me that I can do this and I can follow through with this career. And so that really motivated me to continue my education and reach out to men, women who want to get stronger for everything that God has planned in their life.
I absolutely love that. And one of the banners that I made was one of the quotes you said, which was bridging the gap between health and fitness, right? the gap? Can you explain what this? How do you see a gap here? What is the gap?
I would say, like I said before, when let's say an individual has an injury and they go to their chiropractic care or their physical therapy. Sometimes there still are lingering conditions that they still need work on. And so we're here to fill that gap.
And I was just drinking some water. I apologize. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So I guess what I was trying to, from my perspective, when I think of the gap, we think about our health and we think, I'm healthy, I feel good. But fitness is a whole other part of it, right? So let's go outside of the medical one. I think just thinking through LIFT, because I've heard that LIFT actually stands for something. I don't even know what it stands for. What does LIFT stand for? When I started LIFT 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, rather, I really liked the acronym of Ladies in Faith Together, because at that time I was primarily training women. Okay. And so it stood for Ladies in Faith Together. Whereas about a year ago, I changed it to just Lift by Selina, because speaking of filling in the gaps, I want my clients to fill in that gap. Whatever lift means to you, whether it's lifting weights, whether it's lifting your spirits, whether it's getting you stronger, Lift by Selina can mean different things to different people. I love it. I love that. So part of my story here is to share why we're calling you a Power Up hero. So yes. What does a hero mean to you? A hero to me means someone with maybe with a superpower, and someone that we can look up to, someone that's real and genuine, and someone that can motivate us and inspire us. I love hearing that. So essentially people in our community who make things happen, and people that who have good character, I guess you could say. They have good bones, and they make good decisions, right? Yes. So tell me a little bit about maybe a superpower you may have, because heroes, there's Superman can fly and he's strong. And Batman, I don't know, Batman's human, but he's got some cool stuff. But anyway, long story short, what do you think your superpower is? I would say that I definitely have some natural talents that I was born with that are really gifts from God. I would consider them my superpowers because they have been such a source of strength for me in my life. I am blessed to be a natural born leader. And one of the traits that comes along with that is courage, which I would say is my greatest superpower. I believe the best leaders are the most courageous leaders, as they are able to take necessary risks to achieve great things. It takes courage to step out in life, whether it's starting a business, going back to school, or even standing up for what you believe in. A true leader has courage. I love that. Wow. I love this woman, Brene Brown, and she. Oh, yes, she's awesome. And she has this book called Daring Greatly, and she's just amazing. And she really talks about courage. And so I'm so glad you said that. And ladies and gentlemen, I had no idea she was going to say, I found out today that her superpower was courage. So I think for me, you saying that, which is, health and fitness is one thing, but being bold enough, right, to dare greatly is kind of what I'm hearing here. That's right. What you're thinking, that's your superpower. So your superpower is being courageous, taking risks, and making things happen. But, the hero's journey really shifts a lot. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I have just a little preview about what a hero's journey is. And then when we come back, Selina, I want you to tell us maybe what is an obstacle, what is a kryptonite you have, because we all know what makes a hero story amazing. It's all about the challenges. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back.
What did Harry Potter Katniss Everdeen, and Frodo all have in common with the heroes of ancient myths. What if I told you they are all variants of the same hero? Do you believe that? Joseph Campbell did. He studied myths from all over the world and published a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces, retelling dozens of stories and explaining how each represents the monomyth, or hero's journey. So, what is the hero's journey? Think of it as a cycle. The journey begins and ends in the hero's ordinary world, but the quest passes through an unfamiliar, special world. Along the way, there are some key events. Think about your favorite book or movie. Does it follow this pattern? Status quo, that's where we start. 1 o'clock, call to adventure. The hero receives a mysterious message, an invitation, a challenge. 2 o'clock, assistance. The hero needs some help, probably from someone older, wiser. 3 o'clock, departure. The hero crosses the threshold from his normal, safe home and enters the special world and adventure. We're not in Kansas anymore. 4 o'clock, trials. Being a hero is hard work. Our hero solves a riddle, slays a monster, escapes from a trap. 5 o'clock, approach. It's time to face the biggest ordeal, the hero's worst fear.
And welcome back. You are tuned into the amazing Power Up Hero Show. We're so excited you're here, and we are joined by Selina Hinojosa, who is the owner of LiftBySelina. And as I was chatting with Selina earlier, I asked her what her kryptonite is, because we all know that a hero's journey is filled full of trials and tribulations, and that's what makes it fun. So Selina, tell us, what is your kryptonite and what kind of obstacles have you faced in your life?
Well, I'm so glad that you asked that, Lisa, because we can talk about superpowers all day. But the flip side of having a superpower is, unfortunately, our kryptonite. We all know from the Superman movies that kryptonite is something that we struggle with, or the one thing that keeps us from reaching our full potential. Unfortunately for me, I struggled with my kryptonite for over 17 years, and that was in the form of alcoholism. Drinking alcohol, for me, strips away my superpowers just like kryptonite does to Superman. I started drinking alcohol when I was in high school, like so many other teenagers do. And the more I began abusing alcohol, the more my life spiraled out of control. Thank God I've been sober for 5 years. And since then, I have improved and developed many areas of my life, such as fitness, cognitive enhancement, productivity, spirituality, and my mental health.
Wow. So, you know, I hear people saying that there was a journey to Selina, and you know, Selina, I really just know you through the health and fitness opportunities that we have here in our community. And yes. So to hear that you've struggled for that long, and you know, 5 years, I know it seems like a lot, but it's not that long ago, you know?
Yeah, compared to the 17 years in which I struggled, 5 years that I've been sober, it really is not that long.
Wow. So I think one thing I can mention is, did you start your business when you made this decision, or were you doing other work before you started By Selina?
I first time in about the year 2000, and I was able to maintain a relatively normal life for a pretty long time. But unfortunately, probably at about 2009, 2010, my mental health, my physical health really took a toll for the worst. And my health really declined. And I attribute God's healing to helping me get sober.
And then I guess this is probably why you ended up calling business Lift by Selina when you first started.
Yes, absolutely.
And, I always say sometimes, we think about work, right? And the thing we do for a living, and sometimes we think of it as a separate from our lives. But I think we fail when we do that, right? So if you're going to give yourself into something, you have to have purpose behind it. And that purpose may be self, right? Because you have to serve yourself first. You have to absolutely first before you can pour into others, right? So,
yes.
Like, I know we're going to get into a few questions later that ask specific details, but like what, and I know this may be too much information, but what did you go through in terms of an understanding? And I apologize if I'm asking this question maybe out of context, but did you really do like an intervention, or did you just realize that I need to do better? Did something happen to trigger you to change?
Sure. No, and I'm so glad that you're asking me these questions because I think God didn't cause for any of this to happen, but I believe that He allowed it to happen so that way I can use my story to become a testimony in hopes that I could, that my story could help others. Like I said, I got really sick. I got extremely depressed over that course of time. I gained 70 pounds. So I was really unhealthy in all areas of my life, including my spirituality. Because when you're so far into that addiction, it's really, for me, it was almost impossible to have God's guidance in my life because I just was so closed off from Him. So I did try. I did go to rehab for 2 weeks. I stayed in rehab for 2 weeks. The program was great, but unfortunately, the choices that I made caused me to relapse. I tried Alcoholics Anonymous. The choices that I made caused me to relapse. So I did try many of the conventional methods, but I just don't think I was there yet. One day I was at home by myself. I had already started drinking. And Lisa, I believe God's healing, His Spirit healed me in an instant. And I know that may be hard for some people to believe. It almost sounds like, like a story from the Bible, but that's truly what happened to me. I felt His presence like no other time in my life come over me, and I was instantly healed.
So it's like the universe like knew you needed it, and
yes,
and God's energy came to you and said, Selina, you've been made for more than this. And can I say something? Do you think that maybe you had to go through that to be who you are today?
I believe that the things that we go through in our life, whether they're good or bad, they do truly define who we are, who we turn out to be. And everything that I went through, Lisa, I would never take it back, because that's why I am who I am today, and that's why I'm so passionate about what I do.
One of the things I've always said is, if you're going to get advice from somebody about how to live your life, make sure that they've hopefully walked a little bit of a mile in your shoes, because they may not understand what you're going through. And I know from my experience, there was times when I don't know if you know this, Selina, but I have a shirt that says, I'd rather be at work. And I know it sounds like that. And I don't put it on and I'm telling people, like, you're wasting my time if I'm doing a fun thing. My point is, I love the work I do so much that it's almost like when people wear that shirt that says, I'd rather be fishing, they're not, I don't want to be around you, I'd rather be on my fishing. What they're saying is, I love fishing, right? And you can't say you love something if you don't love it, right? Like, I love work. And I know a lot of times there's this negative connotation that work is something that you're going to suffer through. But can I say that it sounds like the work you do is for you too, right? Because as a health and fitness professional, you needed mental health, right? In terms of being able to persevere, having the courage to persevere.
Yes.
And so knowing that you've gone through these obstacles as a customer, let's say, I guess I am your customer. I pay for your services. So as a customer, I know that you can go there with me if I need you to go there because you have been there. You have, just like that video we watched, you
Yes.
have played the game and you went through the journey. So you know what it's like, you know how it feels.
Part of what, a lot of what I do, you know, is listening to people and having empathy for people for what, you know, for whatever journey, whatever season that they're in their life. And again, I believe that I was allowed to go through some of these trials and tribulations so that I can truly understand some of what my clients go through each and every day.
And I truly believe that. I think that when you're going to get advice from somebody, make sure that they know, that they haven't just heard about it and read a book and just giving you the theory. Yeah. You know, I think you go from theories, you're reading right now, right? So you're reading the book and you're getting the theory to practice, right? And I hate to say this, the practice is the situation that you went through. The option.
That's right.
To mastery, coming out on the other side. And once they're a master, which means that they walked the walk and they went on the other side. You know, it's kind of interesting to hear you say that you even tried Alcoholics Anonymous and it didn't even work for you, because everybody has their own idiosyncratic way of doing things, right? And
yes, and you know, I want to add to that, Lisa, that it's truly a great program. I don't want to you know, knock any kind of programs that are out there. They're wonderful people, and the program itself is great, but at that time I had some kind of mental block that I just wasn't ready. It wasn't until God stepped in and said, I'm going to heal you and you are now ready. And that's when I was able to open myself up and receive the healing that I needed.
And yeah, I think, you know, one of the things that I do is I study from my coach, Brian Johnson, and one of the things he tells us to do is if we hear a word, we need to study it, right? We need to understand where it comes from. Why did that word get put there? And sounds like you made a decision, right? You decided, I'm going to do something. And I don't know this, but the definition of the word decision, actually I guess you could say the backstory of how this word came to being, it's from the Latin word that means cut, as in to just so when you make a decision, it's like you're cutting. And so that's right. So you got to make a decision. And I guess with everything in your life, here and there, like kind of want to do it. I think I want to do it. At some point, you just got to make a decision, right? You just got to.
Yes. And I think for me, I got to a point where I looked around my life and I realized how much I was hurting my family by the decisions that I was making. I realized that I was hurting my own self as well, and the full potential that God had planned for me. And I just had to be ready and make that decision.
Yeah, I really love hearing that. And, you know, it just kind of leads me into the question, which is, like, how do you know, as our PowerUp hero, how do you know when you're making a good decision? How do you know when you're doing the right thing?
I think it's just a feeling that you have. You know, being, for me, it's being in tune with God and His Word and allowing Him to guide me. And I think that it's just something that I feel inside of myself, whether something is good or bad, just having that discernment within me.
I love hearing that. And I think sometimes we have to listen to our intuition, right? Which comes through prayer, right? So I think everyone prays. You believe in God or whatever, you know, whether you believe in religion even, and
that's right.
Spiritual or not, it doesn't matter. Everyone has that.
That doesn't matter.
That feeds you. And the messages are coming, you know? All we have is energy. We are all energy. At the core of us, we're all just vibrating atoms, okay? So something's going on when I'm with Selina. She's vibrating on a frequency, and it's part of the and I'm vibrating like that. I'm feeling it, you're feeling it, and I know when I walk into these sessions, I know that something is going on there. And whether you lead people in some sort of like right before you guys come and you're like praying for space, you know, I have no idea, but I just know that the work that you do is touching lives in Corpus Christi. It touched my life, And I know when I follow you, you know, we all stalk each other, stalk the heroes we love.
Yes.
And I love you run your business. You know, when you had that one photo on the beach, I was like, oh my God, you know, you're so beautiful. So you're such a role model for us. You are definitely a hero. So we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, we're gonna kick it up a notch and have some fun and talk about some favorites of Selina's. Okay?
All right.
You my favorites.
Okay. Yes.
We'll be right back, everyone. Bye.
Women's Equality Day is a representation that we've come a long way with women's rights. Today, there are a record number of women in Congress, and that's important because women are more likely to sponsor bills that are about civil rights. I celebrate Women's Equality Day by voting on the matters that are important to me.
I love seeing that video because I remember I sent a message to my little core group of women and I was like, I need a video in like 3 hours, right? It was like super fast. And I was like, please, some of y'all come through. And I don't know if you saw it because it aired on Domingo Live. So this exact segment.
Awesome.
And I haven't shared this with you because we literally just had Women's Equality Day.
Yes.
About days ago. So that just happened and I haven't recovered from that yet. But it was in the works. It was happening. So Domingo Live aired on Sunday. They aired your segment. And I think they really they aired your entire part. So they really loved what you said. And so I want to unpack that just a little bit because I think at some point we always have to understand that at the core of the things we do, there's a foundation, right? So Selina, the person you are right now is based off of the fact that you have the opportunities you have because people came before you to make sure you had it, right? So like, you know, right now we're in a situation where there has been, you know, situations that have happened that have caused a lot of social unrest, right? And it's almost been a spotlight on the fact that, you know, people may not have equitable circumstances to be able to thrive, right? And the point is, yes, people say, yes, the bill was written, yes, the amendment, you know, whatever, right? But is that true, right? That, I mean, in reality, are we living in a life where we feel that we have the opportunities and we have the chance to be the best version of ourselves without having any restrictions? I mean, what do you think about you as, you know, I guess we could say that you're Hispanic, you're a woman, and you're branching out into the health and fitness industry and into the medical industry. You know, talk to me a little bit about women empowerment and why it's important for women to really step up into their truth.
Gosh, Lisa, I think that we in our country are so blessed to live in a country that we can, men, women, people of all races, nationality, culture, ethnicities can vote. And this didn't just happen overnight. Like you said, many people came before us to fight for these rights, to work hard that we're able to have these rights. And I think that we should take advantage that we're able to do that at this time. And I think women's equality is at the utmost important, especially with everything that's happening in the country today. We need men, women, everybody to get out and stand up for the things that matter the most to them and vote.
Right. And I guess the point here is that this is a really nonpartisan conversation. So we're not saying, I mean, one of the things, you know, I hear people send me secret messages. And so, you know, people usually don't comment in the comments, but they'll send me a message later and I'll get a bunch of them. And I think the point of the whole thing is not that, you know, we're saying vote for a woman, right? That's not the point, right?
No.
You make the choice that's your choice based on your character, your morals, whatever path you want to follow. You know what that you feel strongly about. And so I've never believed in being a part of a party. I don't know whether you understand what I mean, because
Yeah.
I've never voted straight. Like, I literally look at the issues and I decide, you know, on what falls within my scope of voting for. But at the very least, I need to vote, right? I need to make sure my voice is heard.
I mean, young people, I think it's so important for us to at least be educated on the matters at hand, and know, you know, like I said, it's not a matter of which party you're voting for, but your vote is your voice. And I feel like if we don't vote, we should be ashamed of that if we don't get out and vote and let our voices be heard.
I'm just gonna ask you a question, Selina, and for those of y'all who are listening to live, so you know, I'm gonna probably cut this out when I put it on the podcast on Spotify. But I want to ask you: are you hearing some feedback on my end? Buzzing
a little bit, yes.
Yeah. So just for this part, everyone live, I'm gonna fix something. So we're taking a little bit of a break from the podcast, but the podcast people won't hear this. Let me see if I can fix this, because I think I'm trying something new. You know how when you're doing things, you are always trying.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
If you just give me one moment, it's fine. I'm just gonna hear this on the podcast, and then I'm gonna.
I think you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
It's still giving me that feedback. I have no idea why.
Yeah.
And I think I've turned my sound off on this, and then I have, and I mean, Selina, just work with me for a minute, because I really just want
that's okay.
An audio for you.
No worries.
Okay, Selina. I reset it. I think that sounds better. Is that better?
It's a little, yeah. It's a little bit better. Still a little bit scratchy in the background.
I don't know what happened. And so, you know what I'm going to do, if you don't mind? I'm just going to. This is how I know not to do this again.
Yes.
I thought I was being really smart.
That's okay.
Figuring it out. And for those
that's all right.
Productions, you need to know that this is how things happen. Sometimes you just kind of have to figure
it out. That's right. We just got to roll with it.
Yeah. Okay. Reset this. And then I'm going to. Okay, I'm going to enter the studio. It's this one. And then. Okay, so the angle is going to be just a little different.
That's okay.
But I think we're good.
Yeah, that sounds so much better.
Okay, that's better, right?
Yeah, way better.
Yeah. Okay, forget this thing I bought. You know when you like Google stuff and you're like just trying to make things better and you're like, I'm just going to do this.
Yeah. No, you fixed it. Whatever you did, it's much better.
Much, much better. Okay, so Let me figure out where we were. I hope people are watching, because then this is like the truth of how things happen, right?
Oh, yeah.
You don't know how things are going. You have to like mess up. Okay, so I'm gonna just get us back into the flow, okay? If you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, so that kind of threw me off. So I'm definitely like trying to figure out what we're doing, because I'm like in production mode in my head. Okay.
That's all right. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, you are in the Power Up Hero Nation. And I'm so excited that you're here, whether you're listening on a podcast or you're watching live on YouTube or on Facebook. We're so excited you're here. And we are joined by none other than our health and fitness Power Up Hero, Selina Hinojosa.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, who is the owner of Lift by Selina. We already uncovered that her superpower is courage. So we're so excited, and I hope she's courageous, because now we're gonna move into a really fun segment, which is our fast 5-finger favorites recommendation.
All right.
She has for us. So let's go, Selina. You ready? You ready?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Let's do this.
All right. So what is your favorite book?
You know, my favorite book, I would say, is something I just finished, and that's called Inspired to Soar by Bishop T.D. Jakes. If you haven't read it, amazing. Anything by T.D. Jakes is awesome,
Yes.
but I just finished this one. So really, really good, especially if you're inspiring to be an entrepreneur.
I love it. So, I have my notebook here. I love reading, and actually,
Yes.
to be honest, I love audibling, whatever that means.
Oh,
So,
yeah, for sure.
We're gonna get it. T.D. Jakes, Inspired to Soar.
To soar.
Inspired to soar. I'm all about soaring. You know, actually, can I tell you something? I have this thing that I write, you know, fly to soar. Can I tell you?
Oh, I love that.
So I have this image that I draw in the morning, and it's of like a bird, right? So I do my bird, and really it just reminds me fly to soar. And fly stands for first, love yourself.
Oh.
Yes, I love putting that. So I'm definitely getting this book.
Yes.
And so now, Selina, what is your favorite movie?
I don't know if you would consider this a movie, but lately, have you seen Hamilton?
Oh my God, I haven't finished it. But
What the heck?
I was expecting it to be like, okay, I just gotta get through this because everyone's talking about it.
Yes.
And there was a part where I was like crying, not crying because of the scene, crying because I couldn't believe what they have pulled together.
The production, the quality, I mean, it's just amazing.
I really felt like I know how much work probably went into this. And I haven't been watching it. But
He's a genius. He's a genius. So right now, that's kind of like, like I said, it's not necessarily a movie, but that's kind of like what I'm stuck on right now.
oh, I love it. I love it. So I love that, because now you're gonna make me want to go watch it. And I'm like, oh my God, those are my rewards, you know, and I'm not there yet with my reward.
Yes.
I'll get
So
there.
good.
What about your favorite song?
You know, I have so many favorite songs. It's hard to narrow it down to just one. But if I'm cleaning the house or if I'm driving, my go-to is Motown. I love anything Motown. The Temptations, I love.
I love it. I love it. Motown is really, I mean, I grew up, I guess, on Motown. My parents loved it.
Yes.
I grew up and that's the music I heard. So when I hear it, it just takes me back to comfort. So
yeah, that's my go-to. If I want to jam out for a little bit, that's usually my go-to.
my husband Dennis Wisner loves Motown, and I'll never forget when we first started dating. Actually, no, like our first 2 years of marriage, he would sing this song every morning. I feel good.
Oh.
In my head, and then girl, in the beginning it's like calling out, oh my gosh, you know. But he loves that song so much, and he would just it puts you in a mood. So now when I hear it, I'm like, oh my God.
That's a good way to start your day.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, what's your favorite quote?
Let's see. My favorite quote, I would say, is a scripture, and I think it's Luke 13:12. Let me see if I can find it. Yes. And the reason I love it, Lisa, is because it's really near and dear to my heart of what I've gone through in my own life. So it's Luke 13:12, and the background to it is when Jesus was teaching in a synagogue, and he walked out, and he approached a woman that had been hunched over for 18 years. Yes. Because she was possessed by a spirit. And when Jesus saw her, he called over to her and said, "Dear woman, you are healed of your sickness." Then he touched her, and instantly she could stand up straight, and how she praised God. And like I said, that's really what I feel like it's really depicts of what I've gone through in my own life.
I love it. And I found it for you, girl. I found it right there. Yes. When Jesus saw her, he called her over and said, "Dear woman, you are healed of your sickness." Just speaking it into it. You know, people don't know the power of their voice and even their inner voice, right? So the things you tell yourself that no one is listening. Yes. You say, when you look in the mirror and you say something negative, like you're talking to yourself, and you have, and I'm a true believer in the verbal, the outward affirmation, like saying the thing, right? So I sometimes go in my car to do my prime time so I can say the words, "What one can be, one must be." That's right. So Lisa, hear it, speak it, everything, you know? Yes. And yes. I love that. I love that. So I'm going to add this to my affirmations so I can. Yes. Because I know it says sickness, but we can replace that with just pretty much anything that does not allow you to be your best version, right? It could be addiction. It could be mental illness. It could be depression. It could be anything that's preventing you from stepping forward and being your best. Yes. Yes. I love that. Oh, thanks for adding that to my life. Yes. And the last 5 is really fun for me because, as you know, I have a radio show and it's called Wake Up to Power Up with Lisa. And we're very excited because we just share information to wake people up. And yes, people may think it's about throwing those covers off, but really it's about throwing the covers off in your mind so you can optimize and live your best life. So wake up because your life is passing if you're not living it to your fullest. That's right. So, Selina Hinojosa, how do you wake up in the morning? If you had a perfect day where everything went perfectly, how would you wake up in the morning? Okay. If we're speaking hypothetically, my ideal day would be to, first of all, wake up without an alarm clock. All week long, we wake up and we're go, 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 go. And I'm usually up and at 'em really early in the morning. So if we're speaking about just my ideal day, I would love to get up on my own with no alarm clock. After that, you know, Lisa, I'm pretty much a homebody. So my ideal day would consist of having my husband and my sons here at home, maybe having some pancakes, and just kind of chilling out at home. I'm a nerd. I love to read. I like to watch, just documentaries and the news on TV. So I'm kind of like just a laid back. I know some people would think of their ideal day as doing this and doing that. I'm more of a laid back kind of person. I would like my ideal day to just be chilling out with my family at home. I love that. And that is really the ideal life, right? I mean, why do we do what we do? We go to work so that we can create a life that we want to live with our loved ones, right? We're humans to just be around people that we love. So, fantastic. All right. So now that we talked about your fast 5-finger favorites, recommendations, I just want to ask you in terms of fitness and routines, you know, this show sometimes is about sharing lessons and time hacks to get things done faster. Can you share for us maybe some fitness routines to enhance our success quick? Like if I just had a short period of time, how can I get in and get out? Yeah, so if you're in a crunch for time, which who isn't, right? I would recommend doing, even if it's a 20-minute routine, you can, on 20 to 30 minutes is really all you need to get a really effective workout. When the COVID came around, I started doing a lot more Zoom workouts, and which I'm still doing. And so I started doing 30-minute workouts, and a lot of people thought, well, 30 minutes doesn't seem like enough time to be able to get an effective workout. Wrong. You can do so much in just 30 minutes. What I would do is set a timer. The timer that I like to use is, it's called the Tabata timer. And all it is just, it's a free app that you can download on your phone. And you can do increments of like 30-second
30-second worth of exercise with like 10 to 15-second rest. And just do like a big circuit of your favorite exercises. And when I say your favorite exercises, it could be something that you find appealing and or fun. You know, squats, lunges, good old fashioned jumping jacks, mountain climbers, and just doing a circuit of that for, like I said, 20 to 30 minutes. You can really get your heart rate up and get a really great fat burning workout in a short period of time.
I love that. So there's an actual app that would just take me through 30 seconds off, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Off.
Yes. So it kind of looks like this. Let's see here. There we go.
Like that. Okay.
And you can adjust it. You see where it says work and then it says rest and cycles. You can adjust it to, let's say, you know, like if I was going to train somebody, I would set the work time for 40 seconds. So they would do squats for 40 seconds. Okay. And then the rest time would be 15 seconds, because if you're working with a short period of time, you don't want or need a whole lot of rest. You want to keep your heart rate up during that short duration of time.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So in just a short of 30 minutes, right? So at least, I mean, come on, you got 30 minutes, somebody. So let's at least get 30 minutes in.
You know, and speaking of that, Lisa, you know, throughout my years of training, I come across men and women that are really busy and that maybe can't allot 30 minutes of their time. And so my recommendation to them would be, okay, how about 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening? Break it up. You know, it doesn't have to be one solid block of 30 minutes.
Yes.
If you have to break it up, do what you got to do.
Yeah. And even like in the workday. So I usually kind of track things. And so like if I track that I need to do, like, say 100 burpees, that doesn't mean I'm doing 100 burpees, like knocking them out in the morning. Right. I could just do a timer every hour, knock out 10.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it didn't feel like anything. And I did it, right?
Yes. Yeah. You can, I mean, if you really and truly want to get something done, you could make it happen in a short period of time.
You gotta cut it. You gotta make a decision.
That's right. That's right.
So we talked about exercise and how it plays a part in your mental health. Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, because I don't even think I have discussed this with you, Lisa. I am getting a new facility. So for those of you who don't know, I work out of my home. I have for the past 5 years. You know, when my husband and I first moved to this home, Lisa, there was a little shed in the backyard.
Yeah.
And, you know, God tells us to use what we have for our purpose. And I didn't have money for an expensive facility. And so we transformed that little shed to a little workout facility, and you've seen it before.
Yes.
And so here recently, I was blessed to be able to get a brand new facility. So it's still here in my home, but it's going to be brand new, much bigger, much nicer. And so we're so excited for that.
Wow. Okay. So I'm getting the details now. So so it's still going to come to your home, to your backyard, which by the way, does not feel like it's in your backyard. It feels like I've entered some like warrior training zone. It feels like really awesome. And so are you getting rid of the shed and putting something new where the shed is?
Yeah. So, you know, we call it the shed. It was a blessing for the past 4 years. We made it work. We made it happen, but I really wanted more space. And so it was a decision that I had to make. Do I want to go somewhere and lease a space, or, and so I really had to think about that and pray about that. And we decided to get a whole new, I guess it's called a storage unit, you know, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful. It's so nice.
Yeah.
And so it's been a big project. It's been a bigger project than I honestly anticipated, but we're really looking forward to it being ready, hopefully by next week. We'll see.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I don't know if you're okay, but I would love to go live whenever.
Oh, yes. What a great idea.
in live and just tour it. And can I tell you, I love how you said that. Use the resources you have.
That's right.
Try to think why you can't do something because I don't know people. I don't have money. I don't have time. I don't. All those I don'ts are excuses.
That's right, Lisa. If I sat here and tried my hardest to think of a million excuses of why not to do something, I could. But when God told me this is what you're going to do, and you're going to use what you've been given, and I think can be a big test of what we're going to do with our resources and our time.
Yes, it is. Oh, I love it, Selina. Okay, you made the best decision. Why go pay somebody a lease when we could just come? And then you know what? And I hate to say this, but it's going to be better because then you have to travel somewhere to go to work. Like you have to be efficient because you're right there.
That's right. I love the fact that I can literally walk to my backyard and I'm ready for work. Also, once COVID happened, Lisa, my clients have felt so safe and secure knowing that they're in the privacy and safety of an exclusive private facility, and I've really taken pride in the fact that the equipment is sanitized we're really taking all the necessary precautions to keep our clients safe during this time.
I love it. And I really like hearing that that you I think a lot of businesses went, I don't want to say under, but they struggled, and so they had to some people actually shifted their whole career because of that. So it's good to see that you're still continuing. And so I'm going to show a slide that talks a little bit, and I didn't mean to do this, but I wanted you to talk a little bit about your Zoom training.
Okay.
So tell us about it.
So like I said, when I really hadn't done a whole lot of Zoom workouts, and then COVID happened. And sometimes we have to, when things happen that are out of our circumstances, we have to push ourselves out of our comfort zone.
Yes.
And so when COVID happened, I have clients that felt more comfortable doing their workouts out of the comfort and safety of their own home, which is perfectly understandable. And so now I'm offering 30-minute Zoom workouts to people that would rather be home at this time. And that's totally understandable. Okay. And it's really turned out to be an awesome thing, Lisa, because now I'm not just limited to working with clients in Corpus.
Yeah.
I got my first client in Detroit, Michigan.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'm able to expand my services beyond what I ever thought I could. I have a client that is from Canada. She travels from here to Canada. And so she's able to work out here when she's in Corpus. And then when she goes home to Canada, she can still resume her training with me when she's in Canada. So it works out great.
I love that. And then even just thinking ahead, and you probably already have this in your playbook, but those recorded sessions being part of a subscription, because if I can't make it at the exact time you're doing your Zoom, I can to be on a subscription to watch those videos later when I have time to work out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think my clients have really enjoyed the convenience.
I love it. I love it so much.
Yes, I love it too. Thank you.
You're so awesome. Okay.
Oh, you too.
So those of you who are watching, if you have questions about anything, make sure you hit us up on the chat so that we can get you in this show. We want you on this show with us right now. So Selina, as we get into the tail end of our presentation today, aside from thanking you for being our PowerUp hero, I want you to just tell us, what would you tell other people who are trying to live their best life, live it authentically, and be the heroes of their story? What would you tell them?
I would say do it today. For so many years of particularly my life, Lisa, I kept telling myself later, or tomorrow, or next week. Whatever God is telling you to do, you can absolutely do it, and do it today. Don't put it off. This is your time, is what I would tell them.
Oh, I love it. This is your time to be a hero.
Yes, absolutely.
Heroes today more than ever before.
That's right. Yes.
So how can people get in touch with you? Tell us how people can find you.
Yes, you can find us. You can find me on social media at LiftBySelina, or you can visit my website, www.liftbyselina.com. And once you visit my website, there is a page, a tab that you can email me.
I love it. And so people can just visit your website. And I actually pulled some information about your website. I absolutely love your website, by the way.
Thank you.
Beautiful. First of all, you're so beautiful, so I can't stop.
Oh, thank you.
And so, I think part of going on your website is getting a true essence of the person you are. So if you're watching right now and you want to start your health and fitness journey, you need to contact Selina at Lift by Selina. And as she said earlier, you don't have to physically go to her location. She'll come to your home through Zoom. And you don't even have to be in Corpus Christi. You could be anywhere around the world, and you could be connecting with Selina.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. So, Selina, thank you so much for your time today. And
thank you.
Maybe next week when you launch that amazing new facility that you have.
Yes, sounds good. We'll make it a date.
Yes, congratulations. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, Lisa.
Bye. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right here. Lift by Selina is going to a whole new level. So there was a few things that happened that I wasn't expecting. One, she's really serving our medical, practitioners. She's making sure that you get the services you need if you need them on from a medical perspective. So make sure you reach out to her if you have any medically related fitness issues or considerations that you need taken care of. And two, we're getting a new facility, a new location. And so I'm so excited. So I just cannot wait to do this. As you know, during this pandemic, we have to take the positive just as much as we have to understand that we're going through something. So 2020 may be seen right now as not being your best year yet, but I'm sure from the story you heard today, I think Selina is slated to make 2020 maybe her best year yet, right? You heard she has customers in Detroit, Michigan. Who would have thought, right? So let's go ahead and give her some affirmations for putting Corpus Christi on the map, but also more important than that, being a true hero for us. We need role models in our lives, and we need heroes. If you want to find out more about Selina Hinojosa of Lift by Selina, go to our podcast page, which is PowerUpHero.org. And if you want to tell us your story, visit PowerUpHero.org, because we want you on this show. We want your positive attitude, and we want to hear your story about how you're committed to being a hero in our community. Again, the website is PowerUpHero.org. And I'm so excited for you to join us on this podcast, on this TV journey that we're on, so we can power up your life so you can live to your fullest potential. Once again, I'm Lisa Wisner, and be sure to subscribe to Power Up Hero on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, everywhere and anywhere that you could listen or view anything. We are there, and we want you to know that the work we do is all about helping you be a better person for our community, for the teams that you serve, and also for your friends and family, for your career, but more important than that, for you, yourself, because our world needs heroes just like you. We'll see you next time on this Power Up Hero journey. Thanks for watching.